everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to an autumn trends video. So we are in September now, obviously, and autumn is creeping up. We're not officially in autumn yet, but we will be very soon. And I filmed one of these videos last year and a couple of you have asked for an updated one for this year. So I'm basically just going to talk through a few autumn winter trends that I think are going to be big this year. Some are a bit similar to ones that I mentioned last year, and some are some new trends as well. I've done the same format and I've kind of made some Pinterest boards for you guys as a little bit of inspiration to show you exactly what I'm talking about when I go through these trends, how to style these pieces, different ways to wear them. I'll pop some images up on the screen as well so you can get a proper look. I think I have about 6 trends to speak through with you guys today. They're all trends that I would associate with my own style to some degree, some more than others. Some are a bit more basic, a bit more easy to intertwine into your existing wardrobe. Some are a little bit more statement, but hopefully it will get you excited for autumn, give you a little bit of inspiration, and as well you can use this as something to refer back to as well. I do say this quite often and I don't tend to buy into trends too much. I try and hold back a little bit if I can, because I'm never sure how long these trends are going to be around. I want my pieces to work hard in my wardrobe for long periods of time. So I don't like to buy into too many different trends. I like to keep my wardrobe neutral. I like to keep it wearable. And some trends don't really go hand in hand with that. Some do, which is why you'll be seeing a couple of repeat trends from last year. To me, they're not really trends. They're just kind of timeless pieces that I will bring out every single year and easy ways to incorporate that into my wardrobe. It makes sense just kind of to give you guys the tools, and then you can work out how you want to include which trend into your wardrobe with pieces that you may or may not already have, rather than telling you to go and buy specific pieces. I will share a little bit of items that I have, that I already own, or that I'm maybe lusting after, in case you are in need of some inspiration for specific items. This video is kind of like an autumn mood board for you all. So the first trend that I'm going to talk about with you guys today is one that I did mention last year, and that is suede. Now that is a very broad trend. It's quite an obvious thing when it comes to autumn and winter. We kind of think about introducing those more earthier tones, those heavier materials, and suede is just such a good way to nod to the season. I have quite a few suede pieces in my wardrobe already. This can take the form of jackets, specifically kind of bomber jackets, blazers, even trench coats, something perhaps a little bit more statement. But I also love to introduce suede in other ways, perhaps that are a bit more subtle, maybe suede loafers, a suede handbag, even a suede belt. There are lots of little things that you can do to introduce those more autumnal textures into your wardrobe. I have actually gone a little bit suede jacket crazy so far this month. Specifically, I have ordered a number of suede and suedette jackets. I managed to get my hands on the viral bomber jacket from Zara, which I ended up keeping. I do really love kind of the shape, the style of it. It's something that is a bit different to anything else that I currently have in my wardrobe. I also have a lovely suede blazer that I got from Zara in the springtime, I think, earlier this year, and I didn't get to wear it too much because the weather got quite warm quite quickly, but I'm so pleased to whack it out again this time of year. It's such a good piece. Also picked myself up a lovely suedette jacket from Marks and Spencer's, really nice chocolate brown colour. It's got a little bit more structure to it, perhaps a little bit smarter than a bomber jacket, kind of a good in between a blazer and a bomber. I feel like this is a really versatile jacket, and it was super affordable as well because it is a suedette. Also, after having the blazer and the bomber jacket, I wanted something a bit richer, slightly more chocolatey, darker tone. And these items are really easy to style right now with maybe like white trousers, white jeans, lighter denim. They also work really well with darker colours as we head into the colder months, with greys, black, heavier denims, even skirt tights, boots, that kind of thing. So really wearable pieces. And as we already discussed, suede was a really big trend last year, and it's obviously come around again this year. So there are pieces in my wardrobe that I already had, like a beautiful archet belt that was a little bit pricey, more than I would normally spend on a belt, but obviously I get to wear it again this year. It's one of those trends where you feel pretty safe investing in a suede item because you know you are going to get your wear out of it. Just make sure you look after them if they are a real suede. Make sure you've got some kind of protection on them. Obviously don't wear them in the rain. Nothing worse than being in a suede jacket and feeling it start to rain. Another trend that I am so excited about that I haven't really seen too much of before in recent years is lace. I kind of noticed this coming into play towards the end of summer, and I'm so pleased that it's continuing through autumn winter. There are so many fun ways that you can play around with lace. It's a really elegant and feminine trend, but you can also kind of roughen it up a little bit as well, pair it with some more masculine pieces with some harsher fabric, and just create really nice different textures. So there are lots of ways that you can introduce lace into your wardrobe. As we come out the back end of summer, you guys have probably seen a lot of lace skirts, particularly maybe full lace longer skirts worn with a longer top. I nodded to this trend in particular with my beautiful dish cream lace skirt, and I just wore a nice long black top over the top, and it was such an elegant look. I loved this outfit. You can take this into the autumn with just replacing the top with maybe an oversized blazer instead. You could belt the blazer and it just makes the trend last a little bit longer. Obviously a black skirt, black lace skirt would work just as well. I've also got a beautiful black satin slip skirt with a lovely lace trim. I got it from Zara. It's a really great simple nod to the trend. I do love to wear a satin slip skirt. I've got one in pretty much every neutral colour. They are so good for all year round, and when I saw this lace one I thought that is perfect. I also saw a lovely cream one on Zara that had a bit of an irregular hem or an asymmetric hem, which I thought was beautiful. Unfortunately it was sold out when I looked at it, so I just picked up the black one for myself, but I thought that was a really nice way to introduce lace. Also, I've worn recently the lace skirt with the suede bomber jacket, so we've got two trends in one outfit there, and I just really love the elegant feminine lace paired with something a little bit more oversized, more masculine. I think it's so fun to mix the two together. I think the lace skirt would also look great with like more of a leather jacket as well. And then also lace dresses and lace camisoles have been everywhere recently. At Zara again, I do some beautiful ones. I actually picked up a black lace cami from there, which again has the asymmetric hem, which I think is such a nice detail. I've worn this so many ways already. You can wear it on its own, over jeans or trousers. Even one of the lace dresses, I've seen lots of people pair with jeans, trousers, and I think that is such a cool look. But also as we move into the autumn, I think layering this kind of piece is so nice. I've worn my lace cami with a white t-shirt over the top with a little cashmere jumper, and you just kind of have the bottom of the lace cami peeking out. It's such a nice look. It also plays into that bandana trend that we saw a lot over the summer, people kind of tying a bandana around their waist. Very much reminds me of that. And I just think it's a really fun trend to play around with. And next up, moving on from that quite nicely, is a slightly smaller trend, but something that I've seen a lot recently, especially over runways and in a lot of fashion magazines, and that is draping. So normally in the form of like a nice oversized top with just a huge amount of excess material. Again, kind of a nod to what I was saying earlier about the dresses being worn over trousers. I've just seen a lot of excess flowy material, these kind of draped tops. I just think are so beautiful. Again, a really elegant feminine trend, something that is probably not as wearable as maybe suede, but I really wanted to include it in this video because I think it's such a nice trend that I haven't seen too much of before. I love oversized pieces, and when you can make them elegant, I think there's something really special about that, because normally oversized can mean quite masculine, maybe a little bit boxy, a bit drowning, but when you can wear something that's floaty and oversized and still look really feminine, I think there's something quite beautiful about that. So we've seen this draping a lot with evening looks, so materials like satin, like mesh, like I said, particularly in the form of tops. So I'll show you some pictures here of what I'm talking about. Some really nice long flowy tops worn over trousers with heels, perhaps for more of an evening look. You could definitely dress this for day though if you wanted to. I've also noticed a lot of matching tops and neck scarves that kind of tie into this quite well. Lots of, again, excess material. It's lovely to add a neck scarf to a look, particularly when it matches. This kind of draping can also take form in knitwear as well, like off the shoulder knitwear, ponchos. So if you didn't want to go for a satin mesh that is very evening inspired, then a bit of knitwear, still great nod to the trend, but perhaps a bit more wearable for day to day. So the fourth trend that I'm going to speak to you guys about is again something that I touched on in last year's video, and again for me it's not really a trend, it's just kind of ingrained into my wardrobe now, and that is the heritage trend. So I believe last year I called it something like countryside chic. We're still going in that direction, but we're going with perhaps a bit more of a classic spin on these kind of countryside looks. So very 90s catalogue, very Ralph Lauren, nods to the royals, lots of tweed, just very classic look. Like I said, for me this isn't really a trend, it's part of my wardrobe. These kind of outfits are great for walking, which is something I do so much of. You guys know I love to walk, so these kind of pieces are just in my everyday wardrobe. They're practical for me. I think they look really good as well. Such a classic style. So like I said, lots of tweed in the form of waistcoats, jackets, even little flat caps, baker boy cap, knee-high boots of course. These really earthy tones like dark greens, browns, camel. I also have lots of cable knit Ralph Lauren knitwear that I wear quite a lot, which works so nicely with this trend. My wellies are constantly in use, not so much in the summer, but definitely this time of year when the ground is starting to get a bit wetter. I live in my Le Chameau wellies. I have a very classic quilted Barber jacket as well that I have been wearing for years, Holland Cooper fleece gilet. I have a quarter zip long sleeve gilet as well from Holland Cooper. They obviously do this trend perfectly. It's a great mix of practical countryside and equestrian wear. Another brand that I absolutely love that does this trend to a T is Fairfax and Favour. So you can kind of dip into this trend as much as you like. For me, this is just part of my wardrobe, so I'm not afraid to go full baker boy hat, tweed jacket, knee-high boots. That is something that just fits into my lifestyle, fits into my style quite well. If you just want to perhaps do a little nod to this, then a great way to do that is just adding a barn jacket to your wardrobe. You know, you can still wear them with jeans, trainers, t-shirt. You can still keep them quite kind of city chic, but it's a little bit of a nod to the countryside, which I think is great. Another trend that I wanted to feature in this video is animal print. It's not something that I'm going to be partaking in too much, just because it's quite bold and I tend to steer away from lots of different patterns, but I did want to mention it because it is going to be such a big trend this year. Now, we've seen a lot of leopard print before. I think it was last year when we had leopard print jeans everywhere, leopard print shoes, which I do think are really, really fun, but this year we're going to see a lot more cow print and a lot more zebra print as well. Personally, I did actually wear a really, really fun cow print skirt recently. I'll see if I can find a picture and pop it on the screen. It was a really fun piece. I just don't know how much of my wardrobe it's going to go with. I do really love the cow print jackets though. I've seen so many of them on Pinterest and I think lots of girls wear them so well. It's just, for me, a bit too bold. It's not going to go with the rest of my wardrobe. It's not something I would wear regularly enough, but I do think they look really cool. Personally, I would perhaps do something a little bit more subtle, maybe a nod to this trend with a pair of leopard print Adidas, maybe a cow print bag, something just a little bit more subtle to kind of introduce the trend in without spending a lot of money on a piece that I'm not going to wear that much. Now, leopard print is a slightly more softer print, I would say, than perhaps a zebra or a cow print, so maybe a little bit easier to wear. I have seen a beautiful leopard print dress from Zara actually, which I think is stunning. I think a piece like that, maybe with classic accessories for the evening, I could definitely be swayed. Again, it's a really fun trend to play around with. It's quite bold, and for me, I like to kind of blend in, so not so much for me, but I wanted to mention it anyway. And finally, another kind of smaller trend that I wanted to talk about is big slouchy bags. Again, I did mention this last year, so we've kind of carried this trend over as well. I used to be such a fan of a small bag. I used to have tiny little handbags that I couldn't really fit much in at all. And now I love a big bag. I love wearing huge handbags. I can just shove everything in. They are so practical. They are really, really good for day-to-day wear. They're great for working as well. If you work in an office, you need a laptop, you need your lunch. It's great to have a big bag. Also, I've seen a lot of big slouchy evening bags as well that you can just kind of carry under your shoulder. So this trend does work for both day and night. Even a big kind of top handle bag carried under the arm is such a chic look. Impractical, yes, but very, very chic. A big suede slouchy bag is also a great way to introduce the suede trend into your wardrobe. I have a great one that I got last year, a nice chocolate brown suede bag that is so big I can shove everything in it. I just love a practical trend. So that is it for my autumn winter trends video. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me speak about each one and the little pictures that I popped on the screen. As mentioned, in the description box below there will be Pinterest boards for each of those trends, so you can go and have a look and get a little bit more inspiration there if you want. Thank you all so much for watching. I do have an autumn haul coming next week as well, where you'll be able to see a lot of these trends in action, so make sure you subscribe for that, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.